At the end of each quarter of the year, to get myself cool, calm, and collected for the quarter ahead, I like to do what is called a reset week. This is where I consider every area of my life possible and think of the things that I can do to kind of get back to that baseline, fresh slate kind of feeling. To help me in the organization of Reset Week and making sure that I'm resetting every area that I want to, what I like to do is set up a layout in my journal dedicated to this. So that is what we are doing in this video. You'll note that I already went in and kind of decorated the page. I wanted to make sure that the decoration was present because I'm more likely to use my journal if I like the way it looks. And before I touched pen to the paper, I also made sure to consider 1, what all of my reset areas were going to be, and 2, all of the tasks that I wanted to do in relation to this. This meant that I could plan out the layout in full before even looking at the page, and I just did that in Microsoft Excel using a layout planner. Doing the planning in there ahead of time just means that I don't have to come in and sketch things out in pencil and then have to erase them after the fact. And it's also a lot easier to move elements around and see what fits together, and also plan in where I could put in the decoration. The positions of the decoration that I had in this layout were perfectly planned to make sure that I had enough space to write in everything I wanted to. In terms of actually setting up the layout though, the first thing we're doing is going in with my grey Tombow and just highlighting every second line. Well, almost every second line, because I'm also leaving space for headers for each of the sections of the reset. Those headers are going to be in the same lettering style as the Reset Week header that we have on the page, and rather than trying to do that lettering myself, which would have taken me quite a while because this is not a lettering style that I'm super comfortable with, instead I just typed them up and then printed them off on sticker paper that I could stick into the journal. Now as all the scaffolding is in though, we can start to go and fill in the different areas. The first one I wanted to put in was just a list of the reset areas themselves. I wanted to have a little summary there so that then 1, I can use it next time I set up a layout like this. I know all of the areas that I typically like to focus on in my resets. And also 2, it means that I can just keep tab on making sure that I am focusing on all of those areas across the week. There is a very high likelihood that I don't necessarily focus on one area to kind of completion at any given time, so keeping in mind what those areas are and then being able to pick and choose which one I'm focusing on any given day, hour, whatever, I just find it helpful for the way that I like to tackle this. If you're planning your own reset week, you can use these categories as a basis if you'd like, though you probably won't need the Vogel category because you might not have a Vogel in your life. If you don't know, Vogel is my partner, or at least it's his nickname, but moving on, now it's time to put in all of the details for the other sections. This includes laying down their headers and writing out all of the tasks, and because it was important to have enough space for all of the tasks I'm planning for, that's why I went in first to make sure that I had space for each of the different sections. I wanted to make sure that they fit perfectly in any given space, not kind of carrying over to the next column. So for instance, in the left-hand column, we have those reset areas, we have my home environment reset tasks, and also my digital environment reset tasks. Because of the number of tasks that were in each of those categories, I could perfectly fit them in that space underneath the decoration. Or more so, because I knew how many tasks were in each section, I could plan out how much space I had for decoration. It was kind of a bit of a balancing act, figuring out which sections could go together in which column, but by doing that planning on the computer rather than in my journal and then penciling in, erasing, yada yada, it just made the process a little bit faster and less painful. In terms of resetting my home environment though, this is stuff like tidying up my office, doing a proper vacuum of all of our spaces, like a deep vacuum, not just a regular every week vacuum kind of thing, doing dusting, recabling my desk, because I've gotten new cables for that, things like this. Stuff that would be on your someday maybe task list, but you want to move into the new quarter having completed those things. If you were doing a home environment reset, you could also have things like deep cleaning your pantry, cleaning out your fridge or freezer. Vogel and I typically do those tasks at the end of the year as kind of a big end of year reset, so I'm not doing it as part of the quarterly one. But then as said, the next area is a digital environment reset. This is making sure that I'm getting rid of any kind of entropy or disorganization in my files, making sure my desktop is tidy, my downloads folder has been sorted out. This time around, I'm also looking at going through my contacts list and making sure I, well, 1, have everybody I should, and 2 don't have anybody that I don't really need. For the second column though, this has the categories of physical health, mental health, and social connection. Not only are these all kind of related to each other, but they also fit very nicely in this column. Again, going in and planning out how many tasks I would need in each of the sections, and then shuffling the sections around to see what could fit with what. When it comes to physical health, this isn't just exercise related, this is also just like other things that can make me feel good in my skin. So things like a face mask, a full body scrub. Yes, also stuff like an intentional workout and a full body stretch routine, but it can also be thinking about habits and routines that I want to try and build across quarter 4 to help promote my physical health. Mental health is very much similar, but also including a mental declutter in there. And then as for social connection, this is just making sure that I have social connection time, both scheduled into the week and also for the quarter coming up, and considering what those plans are going to be. Making sure I've checked in with the people who are involved so they're all on board with it, actually planning in the dates these things are happening, and possibly even getting started in planning those events. Onto the right hand side, and the first column we have here is what I'm calling the Vogel reset. We're not technically resetting Vogel, but it's reset tasks associated with Vogel, and also tasks associated with my calendar organization. This would be things related to my journal and any pages in there that I need to get set up, and also my digital calendar and making sure that I have information captured in there. Remember, the point of the reset is to feel cool, calm, and collected moving into the new quarter, and one of the ways I do that is making sure that everything is as it should be in both my calendar and planner, any kind of organization systems like that. As for Vogel, in terms of resetting with him, this would be doing things like a relationship or household meeting, reviewing any shared plans or goals that we have together, making plans for date nights and having fun together, and then just also casual chilling plans. It doesn't have to be anything fully formal, but spending some intentional time with him is always a nice part of reset week. The fourth column though is being dedicated to the sections of goal setting, leisure and fun, and before next month. As for goal setting, this is reflecting on the quarter that was and planning for the quarter ahead, and making sure that I've planned those goals out in full, and also pulled out any of the action steps that I need to take in October in particular. Yes, I want to plan out all of the actions for the quarter as a whole, but when it comes to getting in and doing those actions, I like to focus on a smaller subset of those, because oftentimes if you look at a full plan or a full list of steps that you need to take in order to reach a goal, you can get kind of overwhelmed, and that's not really an ideal place to be in. The system that I use for my goal setting is the Epic Goal system, and we have a link in the description box below if you wanted to check that out. As for leisure and fun, this is not only trying to build some leisure and fun time into reset week, because it is supposed to be a time that I take time for myself, but it's also making sure that I've scheduled in fun things for the quarter ahead as well. Planning social dates like we had in the social connection space, picking leisure and fun routines for the quarter ahead, and anything like that. I think I've covered my bases pretty well in terms of the different areas I'm resetting and also the tasks that I've included, but I might have forgotten something, hopefully not. And in terms of areas to reset, I know that some of the highlights are definitely going to be goal setting because it's something that I really enjoy doing, and also getting my calendar organized. If the aim is cool, calm, and collected, the calendar is very much the space where that happens. It's just nice having everything planned out and being able to glance at my calendar and see all of the different events we have coming up, especially related to like social events or community building events, that kind of stuff, because it's good to have things like that to look forward to. One thing that I'm in particular looking forward to, but I know is going to be a lot of work, is going to be Vlogmas. That's where we have a video per day on the channel. So if you're not already subscribed, I do invite you to make sure that you don't miss out on any of the awesome content we have coming up. As for the before next month space, this is just for anything else that comes up that I want to do as part of reset week that feels kind of like a priority, it's pressing, it's reset adjacent, but I just haven't thought of it before setting up the layout. I also thought it would be a nice little spot to put in some more decoration, so I ended up sticking a little ghosty sticker in there who's looking like he just woke up from a nap, because reset week is also a time for rest. This is the first main spread of reset week where pretty much all of the resetting tasks are held, but throughout the week I still need to have a place to write down everyday going-ons and everyday tasks, and also keep track of my meal plan. So flipping on over, that's what we're going to be setting up on the second spread. Rather than doing this one in the style of my daily logs that I've been using for the rest of the month, I decided to go with the Alistair method for this one, and I'm not necessarily regretting that choice, but I do feel like I don't have enough space to write down the multitude of tasks that I actually have. I've been finding recently that in a typical week I use 1.5 spreads or 3 pages, and on those I use 2 columns of tasks per page. So effectively 6 columns of tasks. On this layout though, I only have 2 columns of tasks, so I might need to start using some of my October pages ahead of time just to write in everything that's going on and everything that I need to do. In terms of the Alistair method though, we have a column for each of Monday through Sunday so that I can indicate when tasks are getting done, and then the larger column beside this is just to list out what those tasks are. For any given task, I can put down a dot underneath the relevant day to say this is when I plan on doing something, and then put an X in whichever column is the day that I got the thing done. So for instance, if I plan to do something on Monday, I'll put a dot under the M, but if I don't get it done until Wednesday, then I'd put the X under the W. In the top right corner of the left-hand page though, this is where I'm going to be capturing my meal plan. I'm not necessarily the best at sticking to my meal plan, but I like to have it written down just so that I know what's coming up in terms of food. I'd love to know, if you were doing a reset week, what kind of areas would you be inclined to reset in? As said, mine are things related to like physical health, mental health, home and digital environment, finances, work organization, leisure and fun, social connection, all of that kind of stuff. But what kind of either areas or tasks would you feel would be key in a reset week? I'd also love to know if you actually do a reset week at the end of the quarter. I've found it really helpful for just kind of, funnily enough, resetting and getting in the right headspace moving into the new quarter, especially because the last quarter of the year is usually the busiest for me, so making sure that I am cool, calm, collected is going to be key. If you enjoyed this video and you actually wanted to see me do a reset though, then this playlist is the next one to check out. In that one you can see what my reset processes actually look like, so click or tap on that one and I'll see you over there.